What's up everybody, Hard Work Hayden here, and today's video is about how much house you can afford. But how do I know how much house I can afford? That's what we're gonna go into. This video is designed to help you avoid a disaster scenario, one where you fall in love with your dream house, put in an offer, get an offer accepted, and when you're underwriting your loan and going through the approval process, you find out you can't qualify for the loan. It's a disaster scenario. And there's two ways to avoid this, one of which is to go through the pre-qualification process beforehand so that you know exactly what you're qualified for. And if you don't want to do that until you're under contract, which makes sense, one of the other options is to know your dang numbers, and that's what this video is about. Knowing your dang numbers means doing the dang work. And I have to commend you because part of that process is learning about it. And hopefully from watching this video, you're going to gain more insight and expertise into how exactly your numbers work and a little bit more that we've built on our last two videos. I'm Hard Work Hayden, and this is the final step in our initial real estate affordability video series. In this video, we're going to be building on some stuff we did 2 videos ago and 1 video ago. 2 videos ago was how to calculate your debt to income ratio. 1 video ago was to figure out what your max monthly housing budget is theoretically. And in today's video, we're going to take that number and figure out how much house you can afford. It's time to wrap up everything we've covered. And today that means going into 2 acronyms, 4 and 5, maybe more letters in each, but the 2 are PITI and PITII with an optional H at the end of that one. So what does that mean? P is for your principal balance. And when you're paying down your mortgage, you're paying some of that money every month is going to your principal. And then the I portion of that is your interest. It's going to be the same number generally for the life of the loan, almost always. And in this case, and in most cases, that number is generally combined. We'll talk about amortization and how that works in another video, but just know for today that PI are principal and interest. T is for your property taxes. Those can be looked up on the property assessor's portal, or I'll show you where to find it in an even easier way because some of those assessor portal websites are a beast. So at this point, we have PIT. The second I is for your property insurance. And the last I is for your mortgage insurance, which doesn't always apply, but we'll go through an example of when it does and what it looks like. These 4, 5, 6 numbers, whatever they are, your PITI or PITII or PITIIH to include homeowners association fees, are the numbers that you're going to add up. And as long as they're below your monthly maximum budget, you should get the green light, assuming all other factors are taken care of, the appraisal, everything else, the inspection. But as far as the underwriter goes, when they're calculating your monthly payment and what you can afford, they're going to look at the PITIIH, sometimes not the last 2. Let's get into it. To do this, we're going to leverage Excel, a little bit of Google searching, and also a pretty handy tool that I use quite often in Redfin. It's not the Redfin, it's part of the Redfin listing, which is pretty cool. We'll dive into it. To recap, let's note that the maximum allowable housing budget that we calculated in the last video, link right there or right there, is $3,440.50. That's the number we need to stay below. And in this example, we're going to look at a property in Kansas City, Missouri. You can choose anywhere that your target property is, but just for the sake of this example, we're going to go with Kansas City, Missouri. Next, we're going to use Google to search what the conforming loan limit is for a property in Kansas City, Missouri. Alrighty, I looked it up, and this is what the conforming loan limit is for Kansas City, Missouri. I also had to do an additional Google search to find out what county Kansas City, Missouri is in, but it turns out it's in Jackson County, Missouri. So you look that up, Jackson County conforming limits, 2023, and we'll see right here that the conforming loan limit is $726,200. And that's the amount that the loan proceeds need to be at or below in order for your loan to be considered conforming and be purchasable by Fannie and Freddie, who are going to guarantee it. In our first example, we're going to look at this house right here. It's a beautiful house. I clicked through the photos a little while ago. I think they did a fantastic job of updating and upgrading the kitchen and bathrooms, which are typically your highest ROI improvements that you can make on an older house. And this thing is just chock full of charm and old world building construction and materials, and I think it's a really cool house. It's listed for $427,500. And the tool that we're going to look at is we're going to scroll down here to the payment calculator. And these are the numbers that we're going to look at: the principal and interest payment, the homeowner's insurance, and your property taxes. And we're going to go ahead and plug those numbers in right here. So right here, we've got $2,209 for principal and interest, $495 a month for property taxes, and $314 a month for your homeowner's insurance. And you can see this is green right here. This number is below your max budget, which means that that wouldn't likely hold you up when it comes time to fund your loan, which is great. Next, we're going to look at another example, also in Kansas City, that's similar in price to the first place we looked at, but we're going to look at it through a slightly different scenario and see how it shakes out. This house, also in Kansas City, is within $2,500 asking price of the first house that we looked at. And we're going to go ahead and use that same tool, which is the monthly payment tool, right here, the payment calculator. And without diving into and transcribing these numbers to the Excel sheet, let's go ahead and look at what these totals add up to. We've got $2,196 for principal and interest, $423 for property taxes, homeowner's insurance of $312, and HOA dues of $11 per month. But what if you don't want to pay this $85,000 number right here to get your down payment? Or what if you don't have it? What if you only want to put 5% down? That's one of the beauty of a conforming loan, is that in most cases, you only have to put a minimum of 5% down, which can mean the difference between being able to get into your first home and not, because the difference between 5% and 20% on this property is a lot of cash. One of the things you need to be mindful of when playing with your down payment is mortgage insurance. And mortgage insurance is designed to ensure the incremental amount of the initial loan that's above 80%, which means that if you put 20% down or more, you don't pay any mortgage insurance. But if you put less than 20% down, say 5%, you're going to have to pay what's called mortgage insurance, also commonly called PMI. So let's see what happens to the numbers when we change this 20% down payment over to a 5% down payment. And you'll notice the $85,000 down payment is going to go down a bit. Suddenly you only have to pay $21,250 down, but it affects and adds to two of the critical numbers that you use when calculating your total monthly. You're going to notice first that the principal and interest number went up. That's because, simply put, you're borrowing more money. You've got more principal, and as a result of that, you've got more principal to pay down, and as a result of that, there's going to be the same interest rate is going to be applied to more money, and that's going to drive up your principal and interest payment. The other thing is what I mentioned earlier, which is your mortgage insurance. Your mortgage insurance comes in right here. It's based on your credit, so there will be a little bit of flexibility, and this number may go up or it may go down depending on your credit score, but it does get added in. And the unfortunate thing that we'll notice is that with this new number, $3,607, suddenly this 3607 number is above your max budget. And by making in and coming in with a lower down payment, it means you've got a higher principal balance, your principal and interest payment is going to go up, and that mortgage insurance is ultimately what's going to push you over your max monthly budget. It's unfortunate that this is what some people run into, where things would otherwise work, but if not for that pesky mortgage insurance, they'd be able to cross the finish line. Now, mortgage insurance is a whole other conversation and a whole other topic for another video, which I will put out, but just know that it is something that you need to be mindful of, especially if you're, like most people, trying to buy a first home and putting down less than 20%. So there we have it. Two examples of exactly how you can calculate and figure out whether or not a house that you're looking at makes sense and will come in under your max theoretical budget that we calculated based on your debt to income ratio that we also calculated. It's a lot. It really is. And it takes time and repetitions to look at these numbers, crunch them, and get more familiar with the process. And my hope is that as a result of these videos and more to come, that you're going to be better equipped and more confident in your ability to move forward when it comes time to buy your first home. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. If you didn't enjoy the video, please throw it a like anyway, because it does help a fledgling channel like mine. And in the meantime, I'm going to get back to work. I hope you've got some cool work to take care of. I'm Hard Work Hayden. Keep working hard, my friends. Peace.